You might be surprised to learn that regularly eating the wrong kinds of nuts can increase the risk of cardiovascular problems by as much as 48%. This is especially concerning for older adults. This alarming figure is not an exaggeration. It comes from a large-scale study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, which was conducted over several years. At first glance, nuts seem like a universally healthy food. People keep them in their kitchens, add them to oatmeal, salads, and snacks. But the truth is, some of the most popular types of nuts may quietly harm your health. They can raise blood pressure, intensify inflammation, clog arteries, and even worsen cognitive decline. What makes this even more troubling is that many seniors eat these nuts believing they are good for their well-being. One particular nut, which will be revealed later, has been linked to high levels of a toxic compound that can negatively affect the liver, kidneys, and brain when consumed frequently. This nut might even be sitting in your snack jar right now. It is often promoted as healthy by supporters of low-carbohydrate diets, but for an aging body, it can pose a serious threat. But do not worry. This video is here to help you avoid these mistakes. You will find a detailed guide on which nuts are truly safe for older adults, which ones benefit heart and brain health, and which ones should be completely removed from your diet. Be sure to watch until the end. The final section reveals a shocking truth about the #1 most dangerous nut, one that very few people talk about. It may be quietly undermining your health day after day. This video is going to be incredibly informative and helpful. If you want to take control of your health like a pro, give it a like, and let's get started. Fourth place, almonds, a natural shield for bones. After the age of 60. As we age, the skeletal system loses not only its strength, but also its ability to recover quickly from injuries. This becomes especially noticeable after the age of 65, when the natural loss of bone mass begins to accelerate. At this stage of life, almonds are no longer just a snack, they become daily support for your bones. Consuming approximately 20 almonds a day, which is about 1/4 of a standard cup, provides the body with around 97 milligrams of calcium. This mineral is essential for the mineralization of bone tissue. This is particularly important for postmenopausal women. According to the United States National Institute of Arthritis and Musculoskeletal and Skin Diseases, nearly 50% of American women over the age of 65 are diagnosed with osteoporosis. However, calcium alone cannot reach the bones without the help of supporting nutrients. This is where magnesium plays a key role. A single serving of almonds contains more than 70 milligrams of magnesium, which is the very element that helps direct calcium to where it is needed most, in the bones, rather than into blood vessels where it could accumulate and disrupt circulation. Data from the United States National Institutes of Health indicates that approximately 60% of older adults do not get enough magnesium from their diet. Therefore, almonds help compensate for both of these deficiencies at once. It is also worth noting that almonds contain about 3½ grams of dietary fiber per serving. This is important considering that, according to the United States National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, around 40% of people over the age of 65 suffer from chronic constipation. Another subtle but important benefit of almonds is their antioxidant protection. Researchers from the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy at Tufts University in Boston have shown that almonds help reduce markers of oxidative stress in older adults. Almonds with their skin are particularly effective as the skin contains flavonoids that work together with vitamin E to enhance the protection of brain cells against age-related changes. One important note, older adults who experience difficulty swallowing should be especially cautious. Almonds are hard and poorly chewed nuts can pose a choking hazard. If swallowing is a concern, it is better to choose ground almonds or soak them beforehand. Third place, walnuts, nourishment for the mind and blood vessels, after the age of 60. It is no coincidence that a walnut resembles the shape of a brain. It truly helps the mind stay sharper and function longer, especially in people over the age of 65, when memory, attention, and information processing speed often begin to decline. The primary benefit of walnuts lies in their high content of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. According to a study conducted by Loma Linda University in California, and published in the journal Nutrients in the year 2023, eating 42 grams of walnuts daily, which is roughly 9 walnut halves, for 8 weeks, improved neuroplasticity and concentration participants over the age of 65. Another unique feature of walnuts is their natural content of melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. As we age, melatonin levels drop significantly, often leading to sleep difficulties. Walnuts contain between 2 and 4 nanograms of melatonin per gram, which is enough to gently support natural biorhythms. Research from Oregon State University has shown that older adults who included walnuts in their evening snack experienced more stable sleep without any side effects. The polyphenols in walnuts have a direct anti-inflammatory effect on the nervous system. They are capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier, which makes them especially helpful in slowing the early stages of age-related cognitive decline. According to the United States National Institute on Aging, regular consumption of walnuts may delay the progression of dementia and cognitive deterioration in older individuals. An additional benefit of walnuts comes from the amino acid arginine. This compound supports the elasticity of blood vessels and improves blood flow to various organs. This is particularly important after the age of 60, when blood vessels tend to become stiffer. Walnuts may enhance the effectiveness of medications for high blood pressure, reducing the risk of complications. It is recommended to store walnuts in the refrigerator, as their oils oxidize quickly. Eating 9 walnut halves per day helps support memory, mood, and cardiovascular health. And if you crack the shells by hand, you also get the added benefit of fine motor skill training, which is crucial for preventing age-related coordination loss. One small tip: do not be alarmed by the slight bitterness of walnuts. That bitterness is actually a sign of their protective power. It indicates the presence of active antioxidants that work at the cellular level. Second place, pistachios, natural support for blood pressure and vision, after the age of 60. At first glance, pistachios may seem like nothing more than a pleasant snack. However, for older adults, they can play a much more important role as a natural way to help regulate blood pressure and protect eyesight. What makes them so special? First and foremost, pistachios are one of the few types of nuts that are very low in sodium, if you choose the unsalted variety, and they are high in potassium. A single ounce of pistachios, which is about 49 kernels, contains approximately 285 milligrams of potassium. This balance is critical, especially as kidney function becomes less efficient with age, making it harder for the body to remove excess sodium. This, in turn, raises the risk of high blood pressure. According to a study conducted by Pennsylvania State University and published in Hypertension Research in the year 2021, consuming pistachios daily for 4 weeks helped lower systolic blood pressure by 3 to 6 points in older participants. This effect is comparable to the gentle action of some antihypertensive medications, but without the typical side effects. Pistachios also support vision health. They are one of the rare plant-based sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids that concentrate in the macula of the eye and protect against age-related macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of central vision loss in older adults. In the year 2022, the United States National Eye Institute confirmed that regular intake of lutein and zeaxanthin is associated with slower progression of retinal degeneration in people over the age of 60. But that is not all. The distinctive green and purple color of pistachios is due to powerful antioxidants. These pigments fight free radicals, which accelerate the aging of cells and tissues. A study from the University of California, Los Angeles, found that pistachios can lower markers of inflammation and improve the function of the endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels, in older individuals. Because of their moderate firmness, pistachios are easier to chew than almonds or hazelnuts, which makes them a convenient option for seniors with sensitive teeth. Also, shelling the pistachios creates a natural pause during eating, helping with portion control and preventing overeating. Research from the University of Rochester showed that having the empty shells in view serves as a visual cue of how much has already been consumed, reducing intake by 24%. 1 ounce of pistachios provides about 3 grams of dietary fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar levels and supports digestion. This is especially important for the 25% of older Americans who have diabetes or prediabetes. For the greatest benefit, choose unsalted or lightly salted pistachios and store them in a cool, dark place to prevent the oils from becoming rancid. First place, Brazil nuts, supporting the thyroid, nervous system, and longevity after the age of 65. At the top of the list is a nut that many people do not eat every day, but it deserves special attention, especially if you are over the age of 65. Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium, an essential trace element for thyroid health and cellular longevity. Just one Brazil nut contains an average of 96 micrograms of selenium, which is approximately 137% of the recommended daily intake. According to a 2023 review by the United States National Institutes of Health, 1 in 5 older adults, particularly women, has a selenium deficiency. Yet selenium is critical for activating the enzyme that converts the thyroid hormone T4 into its active form, T3. This hormone regulates metabolism, energy levels, body temperature, and even mood. As people age, symptoms of hypothyroidism, such as fatigue, weight gain, dry skin, and mood swings, are often mistaken for normal aging. However, a study from the University of North Carolina found that up to 20% of older adults suffer from subclinical thyroid disorders without receiving treatment. Brazil nuts are one of the easiest and most enjoyable ways to provide the body with the selenium it may be lacking. In addition, the specific fatty acids found in Brazil nuts help maintain the myelin sheath that protects nerve fibers. As we age, this sheath can degrade, slowing the transmission of nerve impulses. This affects reflexes, coordination, and the speed of cognitive processing. By supporting myelin integrity, Brazil nuts contribute to mental clarity and quicker reaction times. Perhaps the most remarkable discovery in recent years came from the California Institute for Longevity, which found that antioxidants in Brazil nuts, especially selenium, may slow the shortening of telomeres, the end sections of chromosomes that determine how long a cell can live. People with longer telomeres tend to show greater resistance to age-related diseases and cognitive decline. However, it is important to remember that selenium can accumulate in the body if consumed in excessive amounts, potentially leading to negative effects. That is why it is ideal to limit intake to 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per day. Choose nuts in their shells, as they retain nutrients better. Because of their high fat content, store them in the refrigerator. And here is another benefit. The natural oils and plant fibers in Brazil nuts help improve intestinal motility and support regularity, which is a vital part of maintaining quality of life in older age. Next, we will discuss nuts that some older adults may wish to avoid or consume with caution. Inflammatory trigger number 4, peanuts, a risk often underestimated. At first glance, peanuts may seem like a harmless, familiar snack. They are added to sauces, baked goods, and breakfast dishes, and they are widely available in stores. But for older adults, especially those over the age of 60, this food can hide a range of invisible dangers. The first thing to understand is that peanuts are not technically nuts. They are legumes that grow underground, where conditions are ideal for the growth of fungi. This is where the main danger lies. Peanuts are often affected by mold that produces aflatoxins, mycotoxins that can have a toxic effect on the liver. A study conducted by Texas A&M University in the year 2022 confirmed that even small but regular exposure to aflatoxins can lead to the accumulation of harmful compounds in liver tissue and blood cells in older adults, whose detoxification systems are often weakened. But the problem goes beyond toxins. Peanuts contain specific proteins that can trigger inflammatory responses, even in people who do not have a diagnosed allergy. According to research from the University of Virginia, approximately 10% of older adults have a heightened sensitivity to peanuts. This can result in joint inflammation, headaches, skin rashes, and unstable blood pressure. Another risk factor is the high level of omega-6 fatty acids found in peanuts, significantly more than in most tree nuts. When consumed in an unbalanced way, especially in the absence of adequate omega-3 fatty acids, this can intensify hidden systemic inflammation. The United States National Institute on Aging, in a 2023 review, emphasized that chronic inflammation is a key contributor to accelerated aging, memory decline, and cardiovascular issues in seniors. There is also a concern about interactions between peanuts and certain medications. Peanuts contain vitamin K, which can interfere with the effectiveness of anticoagulants like warfarin. If you are taking blood-thinning medications, it is important to speak with your doctor before making making peanuts a regular part of your diet. Commercial peanut butter only adds to the problem. It often contains hydrogenated oils, salt, and sugar, all of which increase cardiovascular strain. In individuals with high blood pressure, which, according to the United States National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, affects 63% of older Americans, these additives can cause dangerous spikes in blood pressure. Even natural unsalted peanuts are not always safe. When stored for long periods, peanuts can oxidize quickly, forming harmful free radicals, especially if kept at temperatures above 22 degrees Celsius, 71 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition, roasting peanuts at high temperatures leads to the formation of acrylamide, a compound that, according to research from the University of Minnesota, may negatively affect cognitive function in older adults. Even if you have eaten peanuts your entire life without issues, that does not mean they are safe in later years. Try replacing peanuts with almonds or walnuts at least 3 days a week. You may notice a real difference. Third place, cashews, a hidden risk for blood sugar and calcium levels after the age of 60. For a long time, cashews have been considered a healthy nut. Their creamy texture and mild flavor make them a favorite snack for many older adults. However, behind this appealing taste lies a set of potential risks, especially for those who are managing blood sugar levels, dealing with osteoporosis, or facing kidney issues. The primary concern with cashews is their high carbohydrate content. Just 1 ounce, which is about 18 nuts, contains roughly 9 grams of carbohydrates and almost no dietary fiber. This gives cashews a high glycemic index. According to the United States Diabetes Prevention Program in its 2023 report, adults over the age of 65, 25% of whom already have diabetes, and an additional 48% have prediabetes, need to be especially cautious with foods like this. Another hidden danger is the presence of oxalates. These compounds bind to calcium in the digestive tract and interfere with its absorption. For older adults, particularly women with reduced bone density, this can directly contribute to the weakening of bones. In addition, oxalates increase the risk of kidney stone formation. The University of California, San Francisco reports that around 30% of older patients with kidney stones consumed high oxalate foods regularly, including cashews. There is also an important fact that many people are unaware of. Cashews are not raw in the traditional sense. Straight from the tree, they contain urushiol, the same toxic substance found in poison ivy. To remove it, cashews must undergo intense heat processing, which destroys important enzymes and significantly lowers their nutritional value. Cashews are also often roasted in oil and heavily salted. This adds harmful fats and sodium, which put additional strain on the heart. This is especially concerning for individuals with high blood pressure or heart failure. Considering that 60% of older Americans already have elevated blood pressure, this is not an ideal snack for them. Another issue is the high risk of aspiration associated with cashews. Their smooth, curved shape makes them more likely to get lodged in the airway in individuals with swallowing difficulties. A 2021 study from the University of Georgia confirmed that cashews are among the top 3 most commonly aspirated nuts among older adults. Additionally, cashews contain enzyme inhibitors that slow the digestion of protein, a nutrient that becomes harder to absorb with age. This may lead to amino acid deficiencies, particularly in people with reduced appetite or digestive issues. Replacing cashews with almonds, pistachios, or walnuts can help avoid these risks while still providing the body with valuable nutrients. If you find it hard to eliminate cashews entirely, limit consumption to 1 or 2 servings per week, and be sure to choose varieties that are unsalted and not roasted in oil. Second place, macadamia nuts, a high-calorie trap and a hidden risk for the gallbladder. After the age of 60, macadamia nuts are often seen as a premium treat. Their rich, buttery taste and dense texture offer a feeling of satisfaction from the very first handful. But if you are over the age of 65, it is important to take a closer look at how they actually affect the body. First, macadamia nuts are the most calorie-dense of all nuts, delivering approximately 200 kilocalories per 1 ounce serving, which is about 10 to 12 nuts. This means that just a couple of bites can add more calories to your diet than an entire banana or a boiled egg. After the age of 65, metabolism slows down, and burning off excess calories becomes more difficult. According to the United States National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, in its 2023 report, metabolic activity in older adults decreases by 10 to 15% for every 20 years of life after the age of 40. Another concern is their high fat content. A 1-ounce portion of macadamia nuts contains 22 grams of fat, including 3 grams of saturated fat. That is significantly more than in most other types of nuts. For older adults with unstable cholesterol levels, especially elevated low-density lipoprotein, LDL, cholesterol, this can be a serious risk factor. A 2022 study by the Yale School of Medicine found that a diet high in saturated fats increased the likelihood of developing atherosclerosis by 23% in older adults, particularly when physical activity levels were low. Given that the digestive system becomes more sensitive with age, macadamia nuts may also worsen gallbladder conditions. According to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, about 15% of older Americans have asymptomatic gallstones. High-fat foods like macadamia nuts can trigger sudden attacks, especially if gallbladder function is already compromised. Another important factor to consider is dental health. Macadamia nuts are very hard, and frequent consumption can lead to cracked crowns, damaged dental bridges, or microfractures in tooth enamel. According to the American Dental Association, 61% of older adults have crowns or dentures, and even one careless bite can result in expensive dental repairs. Adding to the problem is the cost of macadamia nuts. Due to their high price, producers often cut costs by using older stock that may already be rancid. Rancid fats are a source of oxidized lipids, which accelerate cellular aging. A 2023 study from Johns Hopkins University found that older adults who consumed rancid nuts showed increased markers of oxidative stress and inflammation in their blood. In addition, most macadamia nuts sold in stores are roasted and heavily salted. A single serving can contain up to 200 milligrams of sodium. For individuals with high blood pressure, already diagnosed in more than half of older adults, this is a serious risk factor. If you enjoy macadamia nuts, the safest approach is to limit consumption to no more than 1 serving per week. Alternatively, consider switching to healthier options like pistachios or walnuts, which provide a broader range of nutrients with fewer calories and less saturated fat. First place, pine nuts. Hidden dangers for the aging body after the age of 60. Pine nuts may seem harmless at first glance. They are often added to pesto, salads, and sauces. Tiny, soft, and aromatic, they give no immediate reason for concern. But beneath this delicate appearance lies a series of risks that are especially important to consider for older adults. One of the most concerning issues is the potential for interactions with medications. According to a study published in the American Journal of Geriatric Pharmacotherapy, more than 60% of drugs commonly prescribed to individuals over the age of 65 may have unwanted interactions with certain compounds found in pine nuts. This is especially true for statins, used to lower cholesterol, antidepressants, and blood pressure medications. What is even more troubling is that many healthcare providers do not warn patients about these interactions. There is also a lesser-known but widespread issue called pine nut syndrome, in which a person develops a bitter metallic taste in their mouth 1 to 2 days after eating the nuts. While this may seem like a minor inconvenience, in older adults it can lead to a loss of appetite. According to the Mayo Clinic, this kind of taste disturbance may result in inadequate nutrient intake. Among those affected, 42% experienced unintended weight loss within 3 weeks of the onset of symptoms. Pine nuts are also highly prone to oxidation due to their high content of polyunsaturated fats. If stored improperly or consumed past their prime, they may trigger inflammatory responses. This can be particularly harmful for individuals who already have inflammation-related conditions such as arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, or chronic sinusitis. Another serious concern is the risk of aspiration. Because of their small size and smooth texture, pine nuts are more likely to be inhaled accidentally. This is especially dangerous for older adults who have difficulty swallowing, a condition that, according to the United States National Institute on Aging, affects more than 70% of seniors. The risk increases if the mouth is dry due to certain medications. Pine nuts also contain enzyme inhibitors that may interfere with protein digestion. Protein is a critical nutrient in older age, yet its absorption becomes less efficient with each passing decade. The body needs sufficient protein to properly restore muscle and tissue, making any interference with its digestion a real concern. Another hidden threat comes from pine nut oil compounds, which may be linked to age-related macular degeneration. A 2023 study from Michigan State University found that older adults who consumed pine nuts 3 or more times per week showed an increased occurrence of early retinal degeneration. It is also important to consider their high calorie content, particularly when included in dishes like pesto. A single tablespoon of pesto can contain up to 100 kilocalories and as much as 11 grams of fat. This can become an unnoticed but regular burden for those who need to watch their weight. If you are used to including pine nuts in your meals, it is best to limit their use to once per week and only when they are fresh, stored in airtight containers in the refrigerator. The better option is to replace them with less reactive and more nutrient-rich alternatives, such as walnuts or almonds. Next, I recommend checking out these videos, and don't forget to leave your likes and comments. I'm looking forward to them.